Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jeff coming back to you with episode 5 of the 15-minute tech tool series. And today we are going to be spending just 15 minutes talking about how to take some digital appointments and how to use your calendar effectively. And one of the first things I want to quickly address is the point of why the heck should we bother working our schedule online and allowing digital appointments. And for that, I have to give it up for my friend Trish Hatch. She uses a great example that I've really bought into of comparing our offices to that of an ER or our general practitioner or doctor's office. And in an ER, we are responsive. That situation is responding to any emergency that comes up. That is the example of a school counselor that does not use appointments in their calendar in their system, whether they do it in a day planner or online. A doctor, however, calendars their appointment. They are not necessarily just seeing emergencies. If someone came in with a broken arm, they might be able to address them and jump the line. But most cases, they are going to do things systematically. And the tools that we're going to look at today will allow us to do that. It's really changed my own practice as a high school counselor. And I do know that in general, it can be a little bit easier for people at the high school level to do this. If you're an elementary school counselor, it might be a little harder to do this with students. However, it definitely works with parents as well. And so I want to encourage you guys, no matter what level you're looking at, this is a good option for you to explore. We're going to be taking a look at two primary options with regards to online calendaring tools. I'm going to show you at least one of them, but probably two. The main one we're going to spend the time looking at today is the tool that I use currently called Calendly, and I'll pull it up in just a second. And that's my go-to option. I would definitely, you're going to hear me say it a couple times. I encourage you to explore that one. We'll also take a look at Google Calendar and some pros and cons with that, and just using an embedded tool that many schools already use. But there are some other ones. In the past, I have used a program called Schedule Once. That's another wonderful tool out there. And the main reason we left Schedule Once is primarily because of the cost. As my team grew, the costs associated with Calendly versus Schedule Once for the things that we wanted, and I'll address the cost in a second, was much more for Schedule Once comparatively. There's also like You Can Book Me and several other ones out there that you can look at too. But for our purposes today, we're going to take a look at Calendly. And the first thing that I want to really take a look at is the price. And there are three primary tiers with Calendly. Number one is free, the most important one. Okay. And that's wonderful if you want to try it out, if you're kind of testing, or if you are an only school counselor, that might be the route that you choose to go. My school, and for what I like to do with it, it allows a more robust system. We have decided, and I'll talk about how we've justified that, but we go with this premium option, which the basic price is $8 a month per user. So for our school, at my school, we have two school counselors. It's about $16 a month. But Calendly does offer a 25% off educator discount code, but you do need to ask them for that. So for us, it costs our 2-user account costs $144 a year, and there's some increased options that allows us to access. But sometimes people are like, I can't get the justification to do that. All right. But so I broke it down for you. So our $144 a year program, an average school counselor makes about $49,000 a year across the country. I think payscale.com. Broken down by typical contract hours, that's about $35 an hour. So basically what this does is per person, a premium account costs about $72 per user. All right. So I can guarantee you that this program will save you well over the 2 hours it would cost someone to pay you to make these appointments over the course of a year. So if you need justification, take that to your administrator and say, what would you pay to have, time, a master's level educated person's time? And that's valuable. So I see it as a well-valued cost. Okay. There's a few things that, as we look at Calendly, I'm going to hop over and just show you guys that. So we'll see my live display now. Calendly, when you log in, this is what it's going to look like. And in a second, I'm going to hop over to my other browser where I'm logged in at my school. And I'll show you a few of these cool things. One of the nice things that I enjoy about Calendly is the visual aspect as well. If you're familiar with like Apple or Mac, it's very clean, very modern. And when you're looking at calendaring systems like appointment systems and similar items, they're not all like really nice to look at and use. Calendly is one of the few that I think actually does a really good job aesthetically, which, believe it or not, is actually very important. If people can figure out how to make an appointment, they're more likely to do so. So it's really nice and clean and professional. I'm going to hop over and show you. So once I log in, once you create an account, I have a few things. This is my live school account. And on your free account, it's only going to allow you a couple things. Okay, so the limitations of doing free versus premium. Free is going to allow one, these are events, okay, or meeting types. Free will allow you to do one. So meaning you'll have one user connected to one calendar doing one meeting type. Meaning if you wanted to have a 30-minute meeting, that's the only time frame that people can book. By doing this premium option, what I can do is I can create multiple users. We actually have a school counseling team, but it also allows us to create a ton of both hidden and public different types of meeting with different links and different questions that it asks. So it really allows us to customize our options, which I'll talk about why that matters in just a second. But when we're looking at creating an event, I'll just demonstrate and I'll show you how really cool this really gets. I'm going to create a new event. It's going to ask us to do if we want to do one-on-one or group. Group is nice if you have like a group counseling meeting, or if you wanted to try to do like a 504 meeting or something like that. For our purpose, we'll do one-on-one. It's going to ask us for the name. So I'm going to say demo. All right. This is kind of important for right now, being in COVID lockdown. But you might do it also when you're in school. You can actually set up different ways to meet with people, like with Meet or Zoom, over a phone call. So if you wanted to have a phone meeting setting, you can do that, and it'll collect all the correct information. For our purpose, we'll just do a quick. So we'll just do Google headquarters, okay, and it'll tell people you can add your address at school, and it will give a map to them as well. So you can write any instructions. You can include links. This is great if you have like, hey, if you're registering your student, please click on this link and follow these directions. But you can type anything in here. You can label this. All this stuff is really kind of on our end, so we can like make different colors and quickly see. The powerful piece comes in how people schedule. All right, so we have all these different durations. It's got kind of the 15-minute chunks. You can insert 5-minute chunks. You can insert 6-minute chunks. You can customize that time. It's going to default to your time zone, but you can edit that if you're working internationally, or if you're working with students around the country. You can easily edit to be able to use it in their time zone, for example. And this is where some of these premium options really come into play. You can set reoccurring times, but it's defaulting to whatever is on my calendar at work. So if I have a calendar, for example, if I hop over here to my blank calendar, I don't want to show you my school appointments, but if I had basically a meeting here, and if I go into my meeting and I set this availability to busy, what that means is that is now blocked in Calendly. Okay, so ultimately, even though this says 9 to 5, if that time frame was blocked, they can't book that appointment. It does not show up on our booking page. So I can edit this. I can apply this to every Monday. I can make special calendars for certain dates. If you work at multiple school sites, for example, you can set up a reoccurring schedule of your natural availability. There also is a nice thing in here on the back of this advanced tab that allows you to set how much your standard increment is, but also, say for example, I have some meetings that last me 45 minutes to an hour. I can't do 6 or 7 of those in a day. I am just exhausted. So for something like that, like an ILP, I might put 2 or 3 max. And as soon as 2 or 3 max get booked, they're not going to be available, even if my calendar is not totally full. All right. So that is a very nice thing to help you have sanity at work too. All right. It also will tell you how far away they can book. So if you're like, hey, I can't do anything with less than 4 hours notice, it won't let them book within that window. And add buffers. Okay, so if you wanted to add a 15-minute buffer after every event, just for that carryover time, or have to go to the bathroom or something, it's really easy to do that. All right, so That's one simple way to do it. Let's see, where's my error? 15 minutes. The next thing is really down here under this additional options. If you wanted to just get going, this is as far as you need to go. But these additional options really also add some added benefits. You can add questions that people will have to fill out in any of these ways. You can get a phone number from people. So what is your phone number? All right. Make it a required question and go on. All right. And you can do as many of these questions as you like. If you need a parent and a student name, if you need to check, if you need to have a translator available, all that is easily accessible here. The other piece is going to be notifications. And this actually serves, I've been doing this for many, many years. And before this, I was writing a lot of call slips. Since going to this, students just show up and parents just show up. And I can think probably on two hands in the last 5 years how many people have been late because they forgot, not because of like traffic or something. It really is powerful because you can set up these reminders that will go out basically at 24 hours notice. All right. You can send a follow-up, which is important because I actually attach it to a Google form which collects feedback from them that said they'll rate our meeting. So at the end of the year, I also have some data to share with my administrators or stakeholders that people will say, 5.8 out of 6 student, or all of our people rated our counseling services and meetings at 5.8 out of 6. So, people are happy with our options. This is going to be a premium service, so most people aren't going to opt for that. But if you wanted to, it does have an option for that highest tier to do text reminders as well. And then you can redirect them to have certain links. So if they need to, again, fill out a form or something like that before they meet with you, it's easy to add a custom link, which after they submit their appointment request, they will then be taken to that page. So we're going to save it and close it. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like on the back end. So what do students and parents see? Okay. So if I go back to my calendar, that now should be hypothetically available. Let me just make sure that it is. And I'm actually going to have to go to my own personal page, which won't show up on here, but I'll show you what. I have this linked here on Book an Appointment on my counseling page. Students and parents, click it, and then all of these different options are available to them. We have 2 counselors, 1 booking page. Okay, and in order to do that, there's an option called Round Robin, and you just select the person. There's a 9th graders will go to my colleague, these will go to me. All right, but they all show the correct availability. So if I clicked on that one, for example, it's going to show you what times are available. But if we went back here and clicked on the demo that we just made, it's also going to show that. So we click 9 a.m., hit confirm, fill out our details. We'll just have something else. It's going to have schedule an event. So that's now scheduled at 9 a.m., Tuesday, April 28th. So 9 a.m., there it is. All right. So it's really, really super simple. The nice thing too that you can also do with this, it also comes with an iOS and an Android app, which means if there's a snow day like we have here in Tahoe, or you're sick, no longer do you have to pull up your email and phone call and tell people you're not going to be in. You literally pull up your day, cancel all your meetings, copy and paste a reason that, hey, I'm homesick, and they all get an immediate cancellation notice in their email inbox saying that you can't make their meeting that day. All right. So I would highly encourage you guys to check out Calendly. It really does streamline our process as school counselors. I can't talk highly enough about how many people have tried this and now will never go back. I do think that premium option is a solid upsell. They're not just going to take your money. I think the changes are definitely worth it. The other piece that I just want to quickly show you is that is not the only option. If you guys are a Google school, it's really easy to also make calendar appointments on your Google Calendar. So if you want to set up appointment slots between, maybe not there, maybe we'll go between 9 and 1:45. All you have to do is hit that and you say Dreams appointment slots. And then instead of having an event, you tag over here to the appointment slot window. It's going to ask you for slots with duration or a single slot. So this is going to be like, hey, if I want to have 30-minute segments in between here, then I'll do that. All right. And you can set anything else in this if you need to. But basically, what that looks like is now I can share this appointment calendar, this appointment link. So if I open this, people with a Google account, that's one limitation. With Google Calendar option, you do have to have Google accounts. So if you're a Google school and your students use it, it's a decent option. But they can basically click on this, they'll plug in their name and information, hit save, and it's now on your calendar. Okay. All right, so it's been saved. We come back in here, it should hypothetically go in there for us. All right. So ultimately, this is a great option if you want a free and quick version of Calendly. But I would say, based on some of the tools that you have access to, go with the free option. A workaround sometimes that school counselors will also use if they do not want to spring for the premium option is each individual counselor will then register for their own free option and just have one time frame available. And then you can just have a link on your website to individual booking pages for each school counselor, say their picture or a button. All right, so that's one option that you can explore if you wanted to save a little money. But I would highly encourage you that multiple, if you had a 15-minute meeting, a 45-minute meeting, if you needed a private meeting to have a translator book a meeting for you, it's well worth it and it'll save a ton of time. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me as we walk through just a very quick overview of what Calendly does for school counselors. I do want to make sure that I mention that we will be having one more session of this. And so we are going to have our last episode for this time frame. I'll probably take a break for a little bit. But episode 6 of this little mini series of 15-minute tech tools will actually be happening on Wednesday next week. So April 29th at 3 p.m. And our last episode, I'm going to be taking a little bit of time and talking about your inbox. I know it's a scary place to go, but we'll talk about a few ways to make your inbox a little bit more effective and more efficient using different methods and techniques and little add-ons that I've learned over my time using Gmail. If you use Outlook, unfortunately, we're not going to be diving into Outlook. We'll be spending our time in Gmail, but many of these Gmail tools actually have a sister or a similar platform within Outlook as well, so you can maybe learn something even if you're not using Gmail. All right, so hopefully you had a little bit of learning happen. I want to know what you guys think about using Calendly. If you guys have other platforms that you use effectively, leave them in the comments. And I want to thank you guys for joining me this afternoon. Have a great weekend. It's hard to say that from home, but have a great weekend. And, we'll see you guys next week for our final episode of this mini series. Thank you guys for joining me today.